Ever feel like you're just drowning in information sometimes? Like you're looking for that shortcut, that way to really get a complex topic. Well, that's what we do here on the deep dive. We try to cut through that noise. And today, we're taking a deep plunge into something often overlooked, but honestly super powerful: the world of prototypes. Our mission to figure out what prototypes are, sure, but more importantly, why they're basically non negotiable for, well, any project success. We'll look at the different shakes they take and, how they act as the secret weapon to refine ideas before they become expensive realities. Now, the material we're drawing from today, it's actually from a training focused on cooling and air conditioning projects. But, and this is key, the principles, they're universal. This is design gold, doesn't matter what field you're in.
That's absolutely spot on. It's less a technical step, and more. More like a strategic way of thinking, a methodology. It's all about testing, refining, almost like a dress rehearsal before the big launch. It makes sure the thing is actually viable, that it works for the people it's intended for. Save a lot of headaches down the line, believe me.
Okay, so it's fundamental. Let's unpack that a bit. Why is going through the effort of making a prototype, why is that considered so critical? It sounds like maybe an extra step.
Well, at its heart, a prototype is sort of a first version, right? A functional version of the product or the project idea. It's the result of this method you use to test and improve before you go all in. They're really invaluable tools. They let you explore new ideas, communicate them really clearly to your audience, and test if the whole thing is actually viable, if the design works, all in a pretty low-risk way.
That's interesting. It's more than just showing a picture then. It lets you show how it works.
Exactly. Interaction.
So for someone starting a business, say, a prototype isn't just a fancy sketch. It lets them really show the idea, highlight benefits.
Precisely. And let people experience it, interact with it. And beyond just showing, these models allow for real testing. They help prove if the building or whatever the project is actually viable. You gather practical solutions. And maybe most importantly, you get direct, unfiltered feedback from your customers, your beneficiaries.
Okay, so it sounds like it boils down to two core reasons, maybe.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
First, it proves you can actually build the thing. Like, is it technically possible?
Right, feasibility.
And second, maybe even more important, it proves you should build it.
Yes, that's crucial.
Because you use that prototype to get feedback, right, from customers, partners.
That feedback is gold, absolute gold. It helps you fix design flaws early, address concerns before they cost a fortune, and sometimes it even opens up totally new possibilities you hadn't considered for later versions.
Wow. And how does this connect to, like, the bigger picture? Innovation, avoiding risks.
It connects directly. It's all about mitigating risk, really.
Yeah.
There's a great quote from Jason Hawley, founded 5 Channels. He said something like, if you accept that there are things you don't know, then you can discover and learn new things, maybe things you didn't even know existed. And prototyping is exactly that. It embodies that idea. It's not just confirming guesses. It's about discovery, learning, even finding those unknown unknowns you mentioned, things you didn't even realize were potential issues.
Unknown unknowns. That's a powerful idea. But how do you even design a prototype to find something you don't know is there? Can you give, like, a quick example?
Yeah, good question. Okay, imagine a team designing a new library. Simple enough. They plan the layout, books here, quiet zone there, computers over there. Looks great on paper. Then they build a really simple physical model. Cardboard boxes for shelves, maybe tape on the floor for zones.
Okay, basic stuff.
Right. But when people actually walk through this basic model, they find, the main walkway turns into a wind tunnel when the front door opens. Nobody saw that on the blueprint. Or maybe the designated quiet zone is right in the path kids take to the loudest play area. A flow problem they just couldn't visualize. Without that simple physical simulation, they might have built the whole library with this annoying flaw they couldn't have predicted.
Right, an interaction they didn't even know to look for.
Exactly. The prototype exposed it.
That perfectly shows why they're strategic, not just technical. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me. You said not all prototypes are the same. Let's talk about the different kinds, especially maybe in areas like cooling and AC. But like you said, the ideas apply everywhere.
Indeed. There are essentially 3 main types to think about, each good for different things. First, physical prototypes. These are tangible things, models made from wood, cardboard, paper, foam core, whatever works. Their main job is testing real physical functions, like how does air actually flow? Is the HVAC system efficient? How do people move in the space? A classic example is just a scaled-down wooden model of a house, maybe with little vents to see how air moves.
Okay, like architectural models, but used for testing functions. Got it. What's next?
Next up, digital prototypes. These are computer models made with software. They let you explore designs in, well, incredible detail. You can make interactive simulations, gather data much more accurately, and you can share them easily, reach a wider audience remotely. Think of like a 3D video walkthrough of a museum before it's built.
So virtual reality or detailed simulations make sense. And the third type?
The third is experience prototypes. These are often the closest to the real deal. They cleverly blend physical and digital parts. You see these more in medium to large projects where really understanding the user's experience is key. Imagine a physical mock-up of, say, an apartment layout, but you put on 3D glasses.
Oh, cool.
Or you see digital overlays, maybe simulated sunlight patterns changing through the day, or even how different temperatures might feel in different zones. It's about immersion.
Wow, that sounds pretty advanced. So we've got this whole range from cardboard boxes to VR simulations. For someone starting a project, it's not just about using a prototype. It's about picking the right tool for the job to cut specific costs or risks later. Yeah.
Precisely. Each type helps you check different aspects of your idea at various stages. They let you measure performance, usability, find those flaws, identify opportunities, long before you commit the big bucks to the final thing, whether you're early on or nearly finished.
Okay. And when we talk about these prototypes, I've heard terms like fidelity and speed. Those matter too, right? They come with pros and cons. Like, is high fidelity, making it look really polished, always the goal? Could that even be bad sometimes?
That's a really sharp point. Yes, we often categorize them by those characteristics. So high-fidelity prototypes, these are the advanced, super precise models. They look and often function very close to the final product. Detailed interfaces, all the bells and whistles. They're great for final testing, for catching smaller usability issues. But to your question, yeah, high fidelity too early can be a trap.
How so?
Well, if you show someone something that looks almost finished, they often get hung up on surface details.
Yeah.
I don't like that shade of blue.
Instead of the core idea.
Exactly. They might hesitate to give fundamental feedback because it looks too late to make big changes. They assume the core decisions are already locked in.
Ah, okay. So what's the alternative early on?
Low-fidelity prototypes. These are the simple, rough models, designed to quickly get the basic idea across and test the core concept cheaply. We're talking paper sketches, simple wireframes, models made of blocks, even just sticky notes on a wall. Because they look unfinished, they actually invite that crucial fundamental feedback. People feel much more comfortable suggesting major changes.
That makes total sense. The rougher it looks, the more willing people are to tear it down, which is what you need early. What about rapid?
Right, then there are rapid prototypes. The focus here is speed. Quick production to get fast feedback and iterate efficiently. These often use modern tech like 3D printing, digital fabrication tools, quick software mockups to accelerate that learning cycle.
Got it. So low-fi for core concepts, high-fi for refinement, rapid for speed. Makes sense. Okay, so if we're going to actually do this, what's the process look like? The journey from idea to, well, a refined prototype, it sounds like it should be structured.
It is, and it's iterative. Usually you can think of it in two main stages, but remember, you loop through them. Stage one is design and implementation. First step here is define objectives. Why are you building this prototype? What specific question are you trying to answer? Are you testing a function? Trying to uncover user reactions? Is it for marketing? You need clarity on the why.
Okay, know your goal first, then what?
Then gather information. Collect everything you can about the project, the requirements, and really importantly, your target audience. Who is this for? What do they need? This info helps you design the right kind of prototype.
Right, so you know whether to build a cardboard model or a digital simulation.
Exactly. Then, based on that info and what you can actually do, your resources, your skills, you design and build the actual prototype. Physical, digital experience, whatever fits.
Okay, so that's phase one. Define, gather, build. What's phase two?
Phase two is examination and review. This is where the learning happens. First, you test the prototype. Does it actually achieve the goals you set out? Does it work as intended? Crucially, does it meet the needs of the user, the beneficiary?
You put it in front of people.
Put it in front of people, or you run the simulation, or you measure the airflow, whatever the test is. And then, based on those results, the observations, the feedback you get from everyone involved, you improve the prototype. You make the changes, you refine it, and then you might go back and test again. It's a cycle.
Right, it's a loop. Test, learn, refine, test again. And that iterative process, that constant checking and tweaking, that's what stops projects from making huge, costly mistakes down the road. You learn early when changes are cheap.
Precisely. instead of learning late when changes are expensive or impossible.
It makes me think, though, is there a risk of getting stuck, like endlessly refining the prototype and never actually launching prototype paralysis?
That's a real risk, yes. The key is knowing what you need to learn from each iteration. Learn it, make the necessary adjustments, and then have the confidence to move forward. Don't aim for perfection in the prototype. Aim for sufficient learning.
Good point. Learn what you need and move on. So, wrapping this up, what does this deep dive really tell us? It seems prototypes aren't just, models or mock-ups. They're actually strategic tools. They help you make smarter decisions, reduce risk significantly, and honestly set you up for success. Hopefully, this was a useful shortcut to understanding just how crucial they are.
Absolutely. And while the specific techniques, the materials, the software might change depending on your field, that core philosophy, define what you need to learn, test it, refine it based on what you find out, that approach is powerful everywhere. It's fundamentally about continuous learning and adapting, and being okay with discovering you didn't have all the answers at the start.
So, thinking about everything we've talked about, here's something to chew on. How could applying that prototyping mindset, that define, test, improve cycle, not just to products, but maybe to your own ideas or personal projects, or even just how you tackle new challenges day to day, how might that change things for you? That's all for this deep dive.